Hello, ahoy hoy. It is Trevor once again. Thank you for coming on in. This is the fifth, I believe, fifth live stream I've done each Monday, except one time I had to do it Tuesday. I kept I kept up a schedule. Wow, look at that. Did it. This could be the final one. This could be the last one. I'll talk about the date, the launch dates, but this could be the last one I do. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some updates after it launches, but we shall see. If you're watching first time, I'll just quickly say my name is Trevor. What is this series? Who are you? Who are you? This series, we are going back to the moon, and the mission is called Artemis II. So this is a weekly live stream that I've been doing every Monday, 8 p.m. for the last month or so. And Artemis 2, I'm doing it until it launches, whenever that happens. And so each show, 15 minutes. I do two topics, 15 minutes each, and then afterwards I do a Q&A, again, 15 minutes. So if you have questions, you should barge on into the chat and put them in there. Maybe not right now, but wait till the end, and then I can actually answer your questions. And this live stream, as always, I say this every time, it's focused more for a Canadian audience. Americans, they got enough. They got enough people covering their stuff, so I figured let's do the Canadian audience. Who am I? Quickly, again, my name is Trevor. I run a little one-person show here in Montreal called Plateau Astro. I do school presentations. I have a mobile planetarium, so I come into a school and I show you and your students the stars and the solar system and the sky in my planetarium dome. I did 2 last week. I got some coming up next week, focusing on Artemis and other things. And to show that I'm somewhat legit, I worked at the Canadian Space Agency a few years back and got to work with this guy a couple of times. Jeremy Hansen, the guy who is going to the moon in the next couple of days. So it's been quite a busy week. There's a lot of updates to get you on. Then I'm going to get into the topic. So you'll probably want to hear all this stuff. The first thing is there's a new launch date. When I was here last week, the date was Friday, February 6th, the date of the opening Olympics. Well, guess what? They've changed the date to Sunday, February 8th, the night of the Super Bowl. The earliest time it launches at 11:20 p.m. So luckily it is after the Super Bowl. So that means we are 6 days away. 6 days away from this potentially popping off. Again, here is the launch windows. So I didn't mark off the 6th and the 7th there. So those days are no go because it was so cold in Florida. But Sunday, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th. So they got about 3 days left where they can do this. If they miss those dates, they move to March and then to April, and then we'll see what the future may bring. Next update. This is happening today. It's actually happening right now as we speak. This phrase here, the wet dress rehearsal. What is this? So the rocket is at the launch pad. It's been there for a couple of weeks now. And today they were fueling it up, doing a test of fueling it up, putting the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen in there. And it had a few hiccups, but in the last few hours, it looks like it's actually gone pretty good. I think there's been updates since I put this slide in, but the closeout crew is going in there and making sure they're going up on the vehicle, as far as if I remember what I've read here, and they're actually checking the systems out. So it's actually going along pretty good. This is a big step for this mission to happen. And so this is good news. This is good news. We need this to go successfully for it to all happen. I believe last week I said quarantine. The crew started being in quarantine. So the 4 astronauts here and their families. And so they've been in there. What that basically means is they kind of have to just hide away from the general public and their gooey germs, but they're allowed to go into the office and they're masked up and they're still working with each other and doing sims and stuff like that. They're with their families. This part is funny. There's a plumbing issue. So Jeremy Hansen's wife, her name is Dr. Catherine Hansen. She makes these short videos almost every day, it seems. And she posted yesterday, and she was with her family in the car, and I guess Jeremy was driving. She said, we already had a plumbing emergency this morning. So this would be yesterday, Sunday. And she said, we have a plumbing emergency. Apparently water from the city is coming into the house. Jeremy is fixing it. Imagine you're going to the moon in a week and you have to fix a freaking water problem in your house. This is, I guess this is real life matching up with the Artemis II crew. So they're in quarantine still, but I guess they're still in Houston. And they're going to fly to Florida if the wet dress rehearsal is all good. Other update, and then we get into topics, I swear. I made a cool thing. I made a free Artemis II flight map. And sorry for the bad pictures here. I literally just took them like a minute before the stream was supposed to start. It's basically a 3-page PDF you can print out at home. It's black and white. You don't even need a color printer for this. It looks like this. This is right beside my desk. You can see got some mess on the side there. And this is a scale model, a 2-scale model of the Earth and the Moon. And I've tracked out all the major events that are going to happen on the mission. And I've marked them down below and I've numbered them. I've put the orbit and so and the times where things are going to happen. So you can mark in the date and the time that the launch happens, and you can follow along. You can pencil it in through the orbit and find out exactly where they are. So I'm really proud of this. I started this like in August, and finally a few days ago I finally finished it. So here's the first page, the second page, the third page. Maybe I'll link to it at the end here, but if you go to plateauash.com/Artemis, I've got a whole bunch of other resources and stuff there that I've set up, but you can go download this for free. Do it. Okay, now let's go. Let's get into it. So tonight's topics. First one is going to be why Artemis II looks like the space shuttle. Figured I'd cover this one. You probably recognize some parts to it. Figured I'd do that. And the second topic is what the launch day actually looks like for the crew. I've talked a little bit about what you're going to do on the mission, but what I want to talk about is like, what's it going to be like the morning that they wake up? What's that going to be like? So I'm going to go through and see what their day is actually going to be like. Last night it was a full moon. Maybe you saw it. I took some photos. It was gorgeous. It was clear here. Figured I'd share some of these. And as always, whenever the Habs are playing while I'm doing these, I appreciate you watching. So the score right now between them is still first period, 1-0 for the Minnesota Wild. All right. Still a few minutes left to go in the first period. I'll keep you updated. All right. Cool. And just to make sure everything is working, if you want to post where you're watching from, just to make sure I'm actually talking to people. I see there's people there, but got to make sure. All right. Let's get into the topics. First one. Artemis II versus Space Shuttle. It's not a fight. It's just a comparison. Here is what the Artemis II rocket looks like. You see a big orange thing in the center there. Got some things on the side, 2 little small things. But this is the spacecraft I grew up with growing up. This thing here. And you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, wait a minute. I've seen this one. This is a classic. And you're absolutely right. These two vehicles look very similar. You are not hallucinating. Are they cousins? What's going on here? So here's the space shuttle. Okay. And the space shuttle is actually quite, we started using it before I was born. So we actually designed this way back in the late 60s. We started building it in the 70s. And I say we as in the United States. And we started using it in 1981. And so from 1981 to 2011, 30 years, we used the space shuttle. And so here's some design considerations for the space shuttle, okay? It's got a big orange thing. It's got one of those. It's got 2 side candles on the side there, and it has a space plane attached to it. Well, let's look at what the Artemis II rocket looks like. It has one orange thing. It has 2 side candles on it. And there's 1 capsule up at the top. So are they cousins? Absolutely. Yeah, they are totally cousins. So let's dig deep into this and like, why do they look so similar? Like what's their deal? We'll start with the boosters, the 2 side boosters. So these side boosters are both space shuttle and Artemis rockets. There's a bunch of segments to them. I think on the space shuttle had about 5 or 6 segments to them right here. And of course, the Artemis II rocket, the SLS rocket, also uses this. In fact, they use some of the old space shuttle rocket booster hardware on the Artemis II rocket. The Artemis II rocket uses the side boosters, but they're actually a little bit bigger. They got 1 more little segment in there. So the Artemis ones are actually a bit taller than the space shuttle the space shuttle one. So we are using the same solid rocket booster tech that we made like in the late 60s and early 70s and started flying in the early 80s. So that's side boosters. If we look here is the space shuttle going up into space. And if we zoom in, you can see a big orange tank. And then you see these three sort of engines on the back end of the space plane there. So the orange thing, this is called the external fuel tank. And this is basically the gas tank for the space shuttle. Okay. It doesn't have any boosters on itself. Okay. It doesn't have like any engines on the back of it. What it does, it has all the gas, all the hydrogen and oxygen inside of there, and then has fuel lines that are attaching to the space shuttle. So the space shuttle itself, the space plane itself, has those engines. And that big orange thing is just giving fuel to the space shuttle's engines, like that. Now, these engines, they're very big. And I can tell you this because I went inside one. And here's me inside of one. I didn't know what to do with my hands. And here's my hands. They're very big. And so they are huge. Here, though, is the Artemis II rocket. It's got the big orange thing, has the side boosters, but obviously there's no space plane attached to this. So if there's no space plane, where are the engines? The engines for the SLS rocket or the Artemis II rocket are on the bottom of the big orange central core. We call it the core stage. So there's Jeremy and there's Reed Wiseman, the commander for Humans for Scale. You can see some people in some reflective vests there. Probably a better scale there. Same engines, okay? Same engines that we used on the space shuttle are on the bottom of the SLS rocket, Artemis II rocket. And in some cases, it is the exact same engines, the very, 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 very same ones. For the Artemis II mission, there's 4 engines. All the SLS rockets, they use 4 engines. 3 of them have been in space before on a space shuttle mission. So they had to build one new one and then to do some refurbishments to the old ones, but 3 of them have already been in space before. Now, why are we using old shuttle hardware for a modern rocket? Jobs. Not this jobs, these jobs. Black and white jobs, color jobs, blue collar jobs. Okay. We retired, again, we being United States, retired the space shuttle in 2011. Last flight, 2011. And the design of it, again, influenced the SLS rocket. Okay. Now, again, we designed the space shuttle in the 60s and 70s, started flying in the 80s. So the design of the SLS rocket is actually using a lot of old hardware. Okay. And so because of that job system, they wanted to make sure people had jobs and stuff like that. It wasn't really prioritized for the design of the SLS rocket. There are complaints that people have about SLS, some constraints that it has. Modern rocket designs from SpaceX, from Blue Origin, are designed more with modern missions in mind. So the SLS rocket does have limitations to it. It has a legacy design to it. So there's legitimate concerns about it. Concerns, probably complaints is a better word for it. But at the same time, so far it is the only rocket that we have that has sent a crew capsule to the moon in 53 years. And so it's the one we have. It's the one we got to use. And so the SLS, the Artemis II rocket, is derived from the space shuttle. You are not hallucinating. So I figured I would go through that in case you are thinking you were losing your marbles. No. It does come from the legacy hardware of the space shuttle. Okay, that's first concept. Topic done. What is the score? Let's go see. It is 2-0 Wild. Darn. Okay. Every time I've done that, Canadians get into the lead, so we'll see. Okay. Let's get into what launch day actually looks like. And just a reminder, if you do have questions, I'm going to have 15 minutes of Q&A after this topic. So think of your questions. You can put them into the chat, and I'll answer them for you. All right, launch day. What's it going to look like for the crew? So I'm going to talk mostly about the first 24 hours of the mission. And I think I showed a screenshot of this last week, but there's a great PDF if you're into this stuff. if you're There's a great PDF showing a breakdown of what the mission is actually like. It goes by, every single thing that's going to happen, every urine dump, everything in there. And so I'm going to pour through some of this stuff, and some of the stuff isn't in there yet, so I'll put that in there. So the launch time. Okay, now they've changed the launch date on us, and so it right now is February 8th. At 11:20 p.m. This is the earliest time that it could go off. Okay. When it was on February 6th, it was about 9:30 p.m. Now it's a later date and a later time. So this is inconvenient, but this is the cards that were dealt with. February 8th. What's happening then? The Super Bowl. So some people are like, well, I hope it doesn't go off on Sunday. Well, if it does, luckily it'll happen after the Super Bowl. So the launch time, luckily it is after the Super Bowl. I'm not really into football, but go the team that has birds in their name. If the launch happens at 11:20 p.m., the crew is going to have to wake up about 7 hours before. 7 hours before. So they don't have to get up at about 4:20 p.m. Not a.m., 4:20 p.m. And so they're on a regular human East Coast time schedule now. They're going to have to rejigger their entire sleep schedule here to accommodate for this if they do go up in the next few days. So that is a challenge already. Where are they going to sleep? When I went there a few weeks ago, down to the Kennedy Space Center, we went to this building here. This is the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building. And this place is where they sleep. It's called Crew Quarters. And there's a video I found. It's from 2011, 2013, something around there. And this one astronaut sort of gives a tour of it. It's a little bit dated and stuff like that. But it looks kind of like this. And they say it's not fancy. It's not really meant to be fancy. This doesn't really look that much fancier than the motel I stayed at in Florida. God bless you, Aladdin Motel. Very simple. Hopefully maybe they've upgraded the TVs there and have LCDs instead of cathode ray tubes. The common area looks like an office. It looks a little bit, this looks like the places that like my dad used to work at, and he would take me to work at his place. This is a little bit drab here. Maybe they've updated it since, but this is where they're going to be staying. These are the exact same places that the Apollo astronauts and some of the Gemini astronauts and all the shuttle astronauts, this is where they stayed. So even though it looks a little bit drab, I think the astronauts sort of have this feeling of, sleeping and staying among their heroes. So I guess there is sort of that. Again, they're going to wake up 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m., and they're going to eat breakfast at this place. I don't know what that looks like when you're waking up at 4:30 p.m. Maybe Trevor in his early 20s partying too long. I guess maybe that'd be the time he had to wake up, but those have been some pretty heavy nights. So probably not going to be doing that. Then in the same building, they are going to get suited up. So here's some photos of them doing some suit up tests from a while ago. They're in their orange suits. Here's Jeremy getting suited up. I imagine that the person helping him, he's in quarantine right now. A difference that I found while I was at Kennedy Space Center, when you watch Apollo suit-ups or Apollo 13, again, big part of my life, they were putting on their helmets during the Apollo era at this point. So I asked them, it's like, hey, when do they put on the helmets? Do they put them on when they're here? They actually don't. They actually walk out of the building and they don't wear their helmets for this. The design of the suit is a little bit different, that they don't need to put on their helmets until they get to the launch pad, and I think maybe into the capsule or just before getting into the capsule. So I found that kind of neat that they're not in their fish bowls the entire time. These it's not steps, but it's a little stairway here, and the doors behind them you might start to recognize. And I think I may have mentioned this a few weeks ago on a different live stream. These are some very famous doors, and it took me a moment when we were doing the tour there that I was standing in front of those same doors. So the astronauts from the Artemis II mission, they come out of those same doors, but every single mission that has gone to space shuttle missions, Apollo missions, some of the Gemini missions have come out of these same doors. So these are some very, 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 very famous doors. And you can see here, this is Apollo 11 here. And somebody's opening a van door up there. And so that's what's going to happen to the Artemis II crew. They are going to go into a van like this. It has the name on it. You're making sure they're in the right van. Yeah, Artemis II, that's ours. Yeah, I think that's ours. Okay, they're going to get in there, and this part confused me while we were there. I'm like, it's not nearby. I would have assumed that where they suited up was like really close to the launch pad. And I had this like moment. It's like, where am I? Like, I felt like we drove a long ways to get out here. I would have thought they would have suited up near here where they build the rocket and they have the place where they press the button to fire the rocket. I thought it'd be, which is pretty close to the launch pad. I thought they suited up here. No. This is the fun thing about going there. You realize the layout of the place. Here's a satellite view map of the area. And at the bottom center there is the Neil Armstrong Operation Checkout building. I should have labeled it a little bit better there. And way up at the top center there, that is the launch pad. So they're going to have to get into the van, and they drive for about, I think it's about 15 or 20 minutes, wearing their suits. Luckily, they don't have their helmets on, but it's not a short drive. It takes them 20 minutes or so to get out there. Finally, they get to the bottom of the launch pad. They take an elevator up to the top. I forget how many stories that would be, about 25, 30 stories, something like that. I gotta check that. They get up there, and now they can actually enter the capsule. And they enter the capsule about, they were saying during a recent press conference, about 3 to 4 hours before launch. So if they are supposed to launch at about 11:20 p.m., 11:30 p.m., it would be about 7:30 p.m. at this time. So if this happens on Sunday night, it's going to be dark out for the crew. They get in there, and they're strapped in, and they go, and they're lying on their backs, all right? And they have to stay lying on their backs, get suited, strapped in there. And we learned a little bit about the orange suits while I was there a few weeks ago, and it's what they look like. And they have like a lot of controls and stuff in there. They can change the temperature, the cool and warmness of it. They can change if they're getting too hot in there. They have to wear diapers. They have to do it in the suit. If you ever seen The Right Stuff 200 times, like I have as a kid, they have to be there, lying on their back, and they can't move while they are here. And they're going to be in here for about 3 or 4 hours. The rocket is being fueled, and doing the last checkouts and stuff like that, looking at weather, making sure everything is good. There's a chance they might scrub. They might get all the way in there and then find at the last minute, no, we found a leak, or it's too windy, or it's too cold, or whatever, and they have to get out and start the whole process over again, either the next day or a few days after. But if everything goes to plan, as early as 11:20 p.m. on Sunday next week, it's been a 7-hour workday for them already, and they haven't even left Earth. But if all goes to plan, somebody said they look like prison suits. All goes to plan. 3, 2, 1, the rocket launches, and about 9 minutes after it launches, the side boosters go away. The core stage is rocketing them up. 9 minutes, they get into Earth orbit, and they're in space. The 3 astronauts, the 3 Americans, they've all been in space before. This is going to be Jeremy's first time. And I think I remember him saying during a recent press conference, like, he has to sort of get used to zero gravity. So I think he's going to be kind of strapped in for a bit longer than the other ones. And I think he said he's trying not to like move his head to stave off motion sickness. So you can imagine Jeremy just sort of, if you see video of him just being stilted like this, there is a reason for it. If I'm remembering all that right. So they're in Earth orbit. And I've explained some of this before, but I'll just do it a little bit again. They're in Earth orbit, and they're going to do 1 orbit of the Earth. And this is going to take about 1.5 hours to do, about 90 minutes to do. So if everything goes to plan, and they go off at the earliest that they can, at this time, it'll be about 1 a.m. In the morning for them. Next, they do that 1 orbit. They hit their thrusters, and they're going to boost their orbit, and they're going to get into this elliptical orbit. this very kind of strange elliptical orbit. And by the time that happens, it'll be about 3 a.m. and they'll start moving away from the Earth. And I'll give you a visual of that, what it'll look like in a second here. And they're going to do this really neat thing. One of my favorite scenes from Apollo 13, a movie I've seen, 3,200 times. It keeps growing exponentially every episode I do this. The docking scene where Kevin Bacon, Swigert, he has to dock to get the lunar module. It's very tense scenes, like the rookie, and is he going to be able to knock it off? Can he do it? They're going to do something kind of like that on this mission. They're not docking with a lunar module or anything like that. They are going to be separating from their booster, and they're going to do what they call a proximity demo. And so Victor Glover, he is going to be testing Orion, the little capsule, its ability to maneuver in space. So they're going to maneuver, get close to it, go around it a couple of times, make sure all the systems and stuff work out for it. This is going to be really cool. I don't know how far away they're going to be from Earth, but if they get some cool photos of this, I am super pumped to see what this is going to look like. So that's going to be super fun to see. Again, that'll be about 3 a.m. I don't know if they're going to have live video for stuff like this, but if they do, I'm going to have to take Monday off. I work for myself, so that should be easy to pull off. We'll see. They do that. And they do a checkout of the other systems. They got to check out the toilet. The toilet is at the bottom there. They got to make sure that the scrubbers all work. And what this means is they're going to have to start working out in there to raise the temperature, raise the CO2 level. And so Jeremy did a video a few months ago. And you can see this little briefcase sort of thing. He's going to pull this flywheel thing out and work out in there, take up tons of space in the capsule because he's the tallest one. And there's a point to that, and to work out and make sure the systems all work. By this point, they've been awake for about 14 or 16 hours. And on East Coast time, it would be about 6:30 a.m. And in that PDF, that wonderful, wonderful, nerdy PDF, it'd be, again, about 6:30 a.m. or so. They have this period of time, about 6 hours, where they can do sleep time. They have that blue chunk there to sleep 4 hours, and that gray area sort of pre-sleep. So if they're like me, they'll look at their phone, and they won't have their phone with them, but get some sleep there. They're going to be awake. They're going to wake up, and then they'll do some other work for 2.5 hours, make sure other things are working in there. I think that by this time they'd be out of their suits. But then after that 2.5 hours, they're given 8 hours to sleep. Again, a little bit hard to see everything here, but they get 8 hours to sleep there. And then there's a bunch of other little things, a bunch of acronyms and stuff. I don't understand what all these mean, but I can see that it says another exercise test. And then it says Nat Geo, which I'm going to assume is National Geographic. So maybe they're doing some sort of video or promo thing. I'm not really sure what that means. Maybe it is some sort of acronym abbreviation that I should know, but I do not know. I just want to mention, while all of this is going on, they are rocketing away from the Earth and then coming back. So I've shown this animation before, but during this period, as they're doing that test, going around and making sure that they can maneuver in the capsule and everything, while they're exercising, while they are taking a nap and sleeping, this is what the view of the Earth will kind of look like. So I'm not sure how well I would be able to sleep during this part, and I'm not sure how well they would be able to do it either. But I think it's going to be super cool to see this, and I hope they have a few minutes there where I can take some photos. This is going to be the first time that humans have ever seen the Earth in full since 1972. Every other time we've gone into space, we've been very close to the Earth, and we can only just see a little section of it. They go far away from the Earth, and they come roaring back as close as 200 kilometers, and then they hit their boosters again, and if everything is okay, they head out towards the moon. And we call that the translunar ejection burn, and that happens at about the 24-hour mark. So that is the first 24 hours, very packed. They do have some nap time, they do have some sleep time in there, but they have to get up at a weird hour, and they have to be in their suit for many hours, and it's going to be a packed day. And I hope, as I said before, we get some sort of photo of Earth in that first 24 hours. Something kind of like this, but we'll have to see how that all shakes out. Okay, I'm on time actually. What is the score? What is the score? Are we in the second period yet? It is 2-1. Oh, Hab scored for the first period ended. That's great. All right, cool. Awesome. Well, that's the second topic. And let's see. Maybe that will have been the last topic I ever have to do for this series. Maybe I'll continue doing some more throughout the mission, stuff like that. We'll see how that goes. Our daughter was sick all day today. Luckily, she was sleeping a lot, but she was sleeping on me, and I was trying to do my slides here. So hopefully that went by okay. All right. If you have questions, put them in the chat and I'll start answering them. I'll just say my spiel about how to support me. If you enjoy this, you can buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/plateauastro. If you enjoy all my work and you want to support me on a monthly basis, lowest $2.50 a month, patreon.com/plateauastro. Probably the biggest thing is if you live in Montreal or Ottawa or Quebec City or around southern Quebec, hire me to come to your school and give a planetarium show. I have a website, plateauastro.com/planetarium. All the info there. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Come on, hit the button. Do it. And then social media, of course, I'm everywhere. And newsletter, I'm everywhere. plateauastro.com/newsletter. And just to put the link to that flight map that I made, it is at plateauastro.com/Artemis. Go download it, print it off. It's in black and white. Your stupid printer, inkjet printer, your laser jet printer, whatever it is, print it off, tape it together, put it on your wall, enjoy it. And then if you like, would rather summarize this whole mission, I have an 8-minute video on my YouTube channel there. But the biggest thing you can do, I've probably said the biggest thing several times over this section, tell somebody about the mission. I think there's so much news going on that we just can't handle all of it. So I understand that some people don't know about the mission. So tell somebody about it. Tell somebody about it. Okay, Q&A. I will take a drink of water. And let's see here. Some questions. People coming from Resolute Bay, Nunavut. Awesome. Ontario, Montreal, Rocky Rapids. Hey, my parents. Their prison suits. Okay. My kids want to know if you will see the rocket from Ontario going up like a bright dot in the sky. We had a similar question like this last week, and I know to see a rocket launch, you would need to be in the east coast of the United States to be able to see that. I don't know how far north of the east coast and how far south, but Ontario, no, we wouldn't be able to see that. Somebody also asked, they might not be able to see the launch. Would you be able to see it sort of move in the sky at all once it is up in space? So not the launch, but let's say they're in orbit around Earth. Would you be able to see it? You can see the International Space Station with the naked eye at nighttime. It kind of goes through cycles, and I think in Montreal we've just sort of ended that viewing cycle, but it goes about a 2-month cycle. That is actually quite easy to see. I presume not that we wouldn't be able to see that, but I'm curious to see if people are going to be able to spot it in some sort of ways. I bet there's going to be some amateur telescope user out there who will see some dot moving across the sky, and they will confirm that that's it. As far as naked eye stuff, it's just not that big of a spacecraft to be able to see. And the reason why we see spacecraft, or the International Space Station specifically, is because of the giant solar panels. And these solar panels on Artemis II are not that big, so I just presume not. And the time of day that they would be leaving in the nighttime, the sun's light wouldn't be able to hit it, I don't think. I am open to being surprised, though, so we shall see. When can the astronauts move from the lying down position to move around freely? Is it on that schedule? Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, so when they are, it's good to have all models and paper stuff here. So this is the rocket right here. Obviously, those side boosters and the main core stage. So they're at the very, very, very tippy top here, and they are inside this thing here, the Orion capsule. So it's in this position when they go up, and they are lying on their backs right here. They get up into space, and eventually they kind of situate the capsule forward like this. They have windows here and everything. Of course, up and down in space, that is a pretty relative thing. I didn't see specifically on the PDF, and maybe I can bring that up. I can just sort of scroll through here, find it for you. I didn't see an exact moment when they would say that they could get out of their suits. There might be an acronym in here somewhere that tells that exact moment. I'm going to say they're probably going to be strapped in for at least the first few hours. That orbit they go around, I don't know if they would get unstrapped for that or not. They're going to have to do a boost burn about 90 minutes into the mission, I think, if I've read that right. I assume they're going to be strapped in for that. And so 90 minutes is not really that long. I think you have to account for how long things take in space to do, especially if it's the first time in a while you've been in space. You kind of sort of get acclimated and stuff like that. So they're probably going to be strapped in for at least the first couple of hours, and then we'll see after that. I'm gonna cry. That's not a question, but that's quite a statement. So that's good. They can hardly move around. What's your opinion about who's going to win the new space race, China or the USA? This is a good question. So China is also making inroads into sending a crewed mission to the moon. They have they have a space station, the Chinese space station, which they've been operating for, I want to say, like over 10 years now. Real-time fact check. I don't know exactly how long that is. They have not sent humans out into deep space yet. They have not done that. And so there's a lot of challenges to be able to do that. They are working on a lunar lander. We've seen some video tests of them doing some of that. I saw a few months ago. So they're on their way. That is their intention to do that. The way that the Artemis missions are set up for Artemis II, which would land on the moon. Right now, we're using commercial providers for that. So SpaceX would have their big Starship lander go down on the surface for Artemis III, and Blue Origin, our bald man in chief, Jeff Bezos, his rocket company, Blue Origin, they also have a lander. Those landers are still a few years off. There's a lot of things that the SpaceX has to do to get Starship up and running. Blue Origin is actually kind of moving surprisingly kind of quickly now. They're actually doing a lot more. They're doing more launches, and they're getting pretty frequent at it, relatively. And so I'll be surprised. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. Who will land there first? It's so hard with China because they're very secretive, and so it's hard to know what progress they're making. And I think a lot of people are sort of maybe assuming that they're going to work really quickly, maybe to say that in order to get American companies to start working more quickly, sort of motivate themselves. The advantage, of course, is that China is a authoritarian, totalitarian. I think I've got maybe my words a little bit mixed up there. And so there's not, they say do it, and it does get kind of done. Whereas here in the United States, things are democratic, and they take a longer time to do, and you got to approve things and everything, and budget concerns, all that. I'm bored in the audience here. Who do I think is going to win? I still kind of think it's going to be the USA. I still think. All right, Netherlands. I've been telling everyone I see about this mission. Good. Nice to see Canada and the USA working together like old times. Yeah. What a strange dialogue that is going on when we should be cooperating very, very closely with each other. I don't know. It's baffling to me, the situation that we're in right now. I did a poll. Not many people answered. Maybe 20 people. I asked, like, will Mark Carney go to the launch? I'm not sure. I would assume he would have, but we also have the Olympics happening, and so maybe he would be there. Maybe that's sort of an excuse to not go or give him an out. I don't know. Yeah. All right, that's all the questions I see in the chat. A question that I got a few days ago from a friend, offline from a friend, is how can I watch this? Like, what's like the best way to watch this? Yeah, well, NASA will obviously be doing a live stream of this. So on NASA's YouTube channel, they are going to have all the launch coverage there. If it's going to start at 11:20 p.m., practically speaking, maybe if you do want to watch it, maybe pace yourself a little bit. So maybe you can watch the Super Bowl and then just prep that when the Super Bowl ends at, say, I don't know, 9 p.m. I forget what time it actually ends. That you have to keep in mind that that it could launch as soon as 11:20 p.m., but it could launch as late as like 1:20 a.m. So you got to keep that in mind. NASA on YouTube will have a live stream going on there. The Canadian Space Agency, I don't have the link in front of me, does have a list of places that are doing a party to watch it. Logistically, again, it can be very difficult for people to go at a place between 11:30 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. So we'll see how that goes. But places in Vancouver, I want to say Calgary, Edmonton, I believe some places in around the Toronto area are doing in-person events. Again, we'll see with the changes of the schedule, the launch schedule, if they're still holding to those dates, but that we'll see. How many Canadians have been into space? The moon. This is the first time. Yes, this is the first time that Canadians have been out to the moon. Only the second country to head out to the moon. How many Canadians have been in space? Let me see if I can get, think top of my head. I'm going to forget names. I'm going to embarrass myself here. Mark Arnault. No, this is not fun to watch. This is not entertaining stream stuff. About 10, I want to say 10. There was a lot during the shuttle era, but it's about 10 to 12 if I remember right. And some Canadians did multiple missions. So Chris Hadfield, I believe, did 3 missions. Mark Arnault did 3 missions, or maybe it was 2 missions. Oh, I'm a bad person for this, but yeah. So it's been a few Canadians. A few Canadians have done it. All right, let's go back to my my slides here. So this could potentially be the last time I see you, though I suspect maybe I will probably want to do a live stream once the mission is actually going. So don't hold me to that. Maybe I will be back. I'll just share my my screen one more time. Thank you again for the questions, the Q&A questions. Again, if I do another one, it would be on Monday. So if that means I'm doing it on Monday, they're either in space or they haven't launched yet. And then if they haven't launched yet, then maybe we have to wait till March, which means I'll have to do this for a few more weeks. Yeah, can't get rid of me. Can't get rid of me. Not going to let them do it. Again, I'll do this on YouTube, and then we'll see how things go. But if I do another one, do it on Facebook. And next week's topics, if there are topics, I don't know yet, because we'll just see how the mission goes. The wet dress rehearsal, it looks like it went well, so that's a good sign for Sunday. But anything could happen between then and there. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll just go through these slides. I forgot to take these out, so welcome to Behind the Scenes. And again, Plateau Astro, I finished right on time. Perfect, as promised, as advertised. Thank you guys so much. Merci. And if I don't see you again, you'll probably see me again. Let's be honest. All right. Have a great time. See you soon.